Hi students, welcome back to Wisdom Academy YouTube page. In today's class, we are going to see current electricity. So till now we have seen two chapters of physics, that is electric field and charges and electric potential and capacitance. Today we are going to start a third chapter. I hope that you have revised the first chapters very thoroughly and you have become strong in that. If you still have problems in that, I will request you to keep on seeing the videos, enrich your knowledge, solve as many questions as you can. Though I have solved many questions in the video also, but that is still not enough. You have to solve hundreds of questions to get confidence in this chapter. So now we are going to start a new chapter, that is current electricity. And if I am right, this topic you have studied in even your 10th standard. So I will just give the introduction today. I will just give the basic knowledge to you and you can relate everything what I teach today with your 10th standard. Right, let us start. So what is current? So when I say the word current, does it apply only for this electricity, charges and all? Don't we have water current? Don't we have air current? So current means anything which flows, right? So in the previous chapters where you studied about charges, field, potential, capacitance, our charges were used to be at rest. They were not moving. Always we'll place some charges and electric field was there. We don't have any charge moving. That kind of branch of physics where we deal with charges at rest is known as electrostatics, and the branch of the physics where we deal with charges in motion is known as current electricity. So in current electricity we will learn about charges when they are flowing, or we will learn about charges when they are in motion. So how I will define current, but technically if you talk in terms of book, and if you want to define what is current, then current is rate of flow of charge. So how the charge flows, rate of flow of charge is known as current. So mathematically I define, and how it is represented by I. So I represent I is equal to dq by dt. That is d by dt means rate of flow of. So rate of flow of charges is known as current. What is SI unit of charge? It is coulomb. SI unit of time is second. So coulomb per second is known as ampere. So what is the SI unit of current? It is ampere. So I can write 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb by 1 second. And once again, if you want to define what is 1 ampere of current, you can define when 1 coulomb of charge moves from one point to another point in 1 second, then it constitutes a current of 1 ampere. So this is about current. Now I have told in the previous videos also that generally there is a perception in students' mind that current is produced only by the movement of electrons. It is a wrong perception. Even the current is produced by movement of protons. So plus, if the charges are moving, then the current will be in the same direction, and this current is known as conventional current. So what is conventional current? It is the current produced by the movement of protons. I should say like this, generally why it's called conventional current? By convention we take the direction of current as the direction of flow of protons. So then what will be the direction of electron current? It will be opposite to it. Why it will be opposite? Because electrons are nothing but having same charge but opposite direction. So if suppose electrons are moving in this direction, then the current will come in the opposite direction, and this current will be called as electronic current. Electronic current, since it is produced by the movement of electrons. So you can remember that conventional current is the current which is produced by the movement of protons, and electronic current is the current produced by the movement of electron. Why it is called as conventional current? Because by convention we take that the direction of current is in the direction of movement of protons. So now you have understood what a current is. So now current, I said it has a unit of ampere. I said the direction of current also, it will be in the same direction of the protons movement if it is conventional current, and if it is electronic current, the direction of current will be opposite to the direction of movement of electrons. So if I ask you now whether current is a scalar quantity or vector quantity, most of you will say it is a vector quantity. Why you will say it is a vector quantity? Because it has a magnitude, it has a direction. But is it a vector quantity? No, it is not a vector quantity. Because when I taught you about vectors in 11th class, I have said you the definition of vector. Vectors are the quantities which have magnitude, which have direction, and they can be added only by vector laws of addition. So if there is a quantity which is added by algebraic addition and not by vector laws of addition, then that quantity will not be a vector quantity, and so is current. So what happens? Suppose I am taking a branch here, one branch here and one branch here, and suppose current is coming, 2 ampere is coming and 6 ampere is coming, and if I ask you what current will go inside this, you can say directly it will be 8 ampere, because whatever coming current is incoming, it will be equal to outgoing current. But if I give you two quantities in vector, suppose I am having here something 2 and one quantity here which has a magnitude of 3, will you say that its magnitude, the resultant direction will be this and it will have a value of 5? No, you will not say like this. Why you will not say like this? Because we know that if this is A and if this is B, then the resultant will be equal to root over A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, and is how we add vectors. Does the current follow the vector law of addition? No, it does not follow. So, current is a exception which is looking vector, but actually it is a scalar quantity. And why it is scalar quantity? Once again I will repeat you, though it has magnitude and direction, since it does not obey the vector laws of addition, it is a scalar quantity. Next we will talk about potential difference. So, what is a potential difference? Again, this thing also you have learned in 10th standard. I will just recall it. Potential difference, also known as voltage, it is also called as voltage. What is that? If you remember your 10th standard, you would have learned that potential difference is work done per unit charge. But we are not going to stop here in 12th. We are going to go a little further. So, to understand the concept of potential difference, I will take a small experiment. So, what experiment I will take? Suppose I have 2 buckets of water kept at the same level. This is the level at which they are kept. One thing is having water up to this level, and tank B, let this be tank A, let this be tank B. Tank B is having water at this level. Now I ask you a question. If I connect these 2 tanks, suppose I connect from here, like this, then what will happen? Will the water start moving from here to here? Most of you will say, yeah, it starts moving. It starts moving from here to here until when it moves? It moves till the point when both containers will have same quantity of water. So, when both the containers will have same quantity of water, till that point the water will flow through this channel. Why does it happen so? Because point B is at a higher potential, point A is at a lower potential. So, always the things moves from higher potential to lower potential. So, water moved from area of higher potential to area of lower potential, and that is why it moved in this direction. Right, this is known as potential difference in case of even charges. So, suppose you want to make a charge to move from one point to another point, then that is known as potential difference. That is why I say if you want to move from point A to point B, then what is the work done to carry 1 coulomb of charge? That is known as potential difference. So, I will represent VAB and write it as, suppose I am moving from A to B, then A will be at higher potential, B will be at lower potential. So, I will write VA minus VB. This is known as potential difference. So, what is potential difference? It is a work done in moving a charge from a point of higher potential to a point of lower potential. One more concept comes, that is known as EMF, which you would have not heard in your 10th standard and you are going to hear today. What is that? That is electromotive force. It is called as electromotive force. So, before I tell you about the electromotive force, one thing I wanted to keep in your mind very carefully, it is not a force. It is not a force by nature. It has got a name like electromotive force. I will say why it has got the name electromotive force. So, I told you that always the charges will move from the area of higher potential to lower potential. So, let us make a circuit like this. Okay, this is plus, this is minus. Always positive terminal will have higher potential and negative terminal will have a lower potential. So, my plus charge starts to moves. Suppose I have a resistor here R, moves like this, like it comes. So, charge is moving from higher potential to lower potential. Very good. What happens when the charge comes at this point? There is a charge moving, it has moved and reached again here. Now it has come to a point where it is at a lower potential and it has to travel to higher potential. But all our laws says that the charge can move only from higher potential, lower potential. Then how will it move from the point of lower potential to a point of higher potential? There the role of electromotive force will come. So suppose in this same case I say you that this happened. Once again I want the flow to be there. Now see, after the flow of water happened, after this state came, it became static, there is no movement of water. But what I wish water to continuously keep on moving. How is it possible? It is possible if you connect some mechanism here in such a way that I am connecting some mechanism, this is some mechanism in such a way that always it changes its potential. Again it will change its potential, again it will flow. Again it will change the potential, again it will flow. So when you keep on making the potential higher, lower, higher, lower, then the flow of water keeps on there. Same way, we want a device or we want a condition in such a way that the charge are able to move from the area of lower potential to higher potential also. There comes the concept of electromotive force, and this work is done by batteries or cells which are present. So what will battery do? Battery will have some chemical energy stored in it, nickel cadmium battery or any battery if you take, lithium ion battery. So that chemicals are having chemical energy, and those chemicals in the battery will do some work to move this charge from lower potential to higher potential. Again it starts flowing. So I hope you are clear between EMF and potential difference now. Electromotive force is the amount of work done in moving the charge through the entire circuit, I mean including this part, lower to higher, whereas potential difference is the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point. Let me explain you about this EMF and voltage a little more clearly. I think after this you will have some more clarity. So I am taking one small circuit where I am keeping a resistance, and this is a 5 ohm resistance, and I have the potential difference, that is a battery here of 10 volt. Just now I told battery is the EMF source. So here the EMF of this battery is, I will say, 10 volt. Now what is the current coming out? We can find, because V is equal to IR. So I is equal to V by R. So V is 10, R is 5, it will be 2 ampere. So what current comes out? We can say very boldly it will be 2 ampere coming out. Right. So when this 10 volt of EMF is there in this circuit, we know that it is also work done per unit charge. So if I take 1 coulomb of charge, suppose 1 coulomb, it will not happen in reality, I am assuming that only 1 coulomb of charge starts from here, only one charge. This is 1 coulomb of charge. If it starts from here, how much energy will it have? Energy is work done. So we can write that since V is equal to work done per unit charge, this is 1, this is 10. So I can say that work done is 10 joules. So it has energy of 10 joules. It has energy of 10 joules. With 10 joule energy, it started moving from here, going above. Okay, when it came here. So you know what is the role of resistance? It will resist the flow of current. So what resistance it has given, to overcome that resistance, it needs some energy, and that 1 coulomb of charge will use this 10 joule of energy to cross from this point to this point. And that's why the potential difference is always talked with respect to 2 points. So potential difference from here to here will be again 10 volt. Why it will be 10 volt? Because 10 joule of the energy what is there in this coulomb was utilized here to move from this point to this point, and then it loses all its energy and comes down here. Then again there has to be some energy given to the charge by chemical energy, and it keeps on moving. Now what I do, suppose there are more than one resistance, there are 2 resistance, okay, and this is suppose resistance of 2 ohm and this is resistance of 3 ohm. Now let us see what happens. Now the EMFs remain same 10 volt. What is the R net here? It will be 5 ohm. So same 2 ampere will come out, and this 1 coulomb of charge will have energy of same 10 joules. Now when the 10 joule reaches here, Will this 3 ohm require 10 joule completely to be taken? No, because see, this is 3 ohm, this is 10 volt. So when it reaches here, we know that V is equal to IR. So V is equal to I into R. I is 2 ampere, R is 3. So 2 into 3, that is equal to only 6 volt. So 6 volt is the potential difference. We know that V is equal to W by Q. Q is 1. So it needs only 6 joule of energy of this 1 coulomb. So 1 coulomb of charge, when it reaches here, it will use only 6 joule of energy to come from here to here. So I will say potential difference across this resistance is 6 volt. Again with this 6 joule of energy, when it comes here, how much this will need? V is equal to IR. So 2 into 2, that is equal to 4 joule. So it need, from here to here, it needs that 4 joule, remaining 4 joule. It will use that energy and come back to the lower potential. So these 2 points of 4 volt and 6 volt will be the respective potential difference of these 2 resistors. But the EMF will be 10 volt. I will not say EMF of the circuit is 6 volt or 4 volt. No, I will say EMF is the 10 volt. Why I will say that? Because EMF is the work done to move the charge through the entire circuit, whereas potential difference is the work done to move the charge from one point to another point. I hope that now you would have got some clarity over the difference between electromotive force and potential difference. What I want from you is you will make a tabulation in a notebook where you will write the differences between voltage and potential difference. Please do that. That will give you some more clear idea. Now we will move to the next topic, that is Ohm's law, and very famous law which you have already studied in your 10th standard. So what did Ohm study? He studied the relationship between potential difference and current. So he took a basic circuit, he first put one cell and he connected one ammeter and voltmeter. I hope you remember everything, that voltmeter is connected in parallel, ammeter in series. So if I draw a circuit here, so suppose there is a resistance, then ammeter will be in series whereas voltmeter will be in parallel. So they connected him like this, and here he put one cell. Then the moment the switch is on, then what will happen? The moment the switch is on, the current starts to flow and it will have some reading, So he plotted that reading in the table about V and voltmeter and ammeter, which is the voltage and current reading. He started plotting that reading. Again, what he did, he changed this potential difference to 2 cells now. So when he kept 2 cells, potential difference got increased and he had new value of V and I. Like that he kept on taking the values of V and I by changing the number of cells. And finally when he drew the graph between the potential difference and the current, he found it is a straight line. So he found that potential difference across a conductor is directly proportional to the current. So how he wrote? He told that, what is the statement of Ohm's law? It says that potential difference across any conductor, potential difference across a conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through the circuit under constant temperature and pressure, or you can also write it to be physical conditions. So under the constant physical conditions, the potential difference is directly proportional to the current flowing through the circuit, and then I will replace this proportionality by constant, and that constant is known as resistance of the conductor. So what is the resistance? I write a resistance to be V by I, which means it is the ratio of potential difference to the current and it is a constant quantity. So what is the assignment of potential difference? It is volt. So voltage 1 volt I will write, and for current ampere, that is equal to 1 ohm. So 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. So 1 ohm is the resistance offered by a conductor if 1 volt of potential difference is applied across it to produce a current of 1 ampere. You can say like that. So ohm is the SI unit of resistance. So in today's introduction class, what we have seen, I have given you a clarity on what is current electricity. I have told you that current is not a vector quantity, it is a scalar quantity, and I tried to throw some light over the difference between potential difference and electromotive force. Finally, I ended up with Ohm's law. I will continue Ohm's law in the next video. Till then, like the video, share with your friends and subscribe our channel. Thank you.